Hey, all you podcast listeners, you can find Slice of the Paranormal everywhere podcasts are found, or you can watch us on our YouTube channel.
Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome to the spooktacular Halloween time.
Super fun-tastic, Halloween, spooktacular.
I like it. Version of our podcast.
Exactly. And
we got a doozy today. I'm so excited.
We are Slice of the Paranormal.
Oh, yeah, sorry. We forgot to say
just
that.
reminding you.
We're a weekly podcast where we just talk about paranormal stuff and have some fun along the way. And we're really excited for tonight's
Probably a little too excited.
episode because it's our Halloween episode. And we got to go somewhere I know I've always wanted to go.
Yep, it's a really cool place.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's just come out with it.
I mean, if you can't tell by our decorations. That
Well, we have the Headless Horseman here. We brought him back from where we visited.
Shot glasses.
It's empty, but...
Shot glasses. So we visited Sleepy Hollow, New York.
That's right, we
sure did.
So when we went up to Sleepy Hollow, New York, when we planned this, I was trying to think, well, what's the best way to show someone Sleepy Hollow? So we thought there'd be no better way than to follow the path of Ichabod Crane in his famous flight from Baltus Van Tassel's home to the tavern where Brom Bones tells him all the scary stories of Sleepy Hollow. And then he then goes and sees the scary, spooky tree, which everyone remembers from Sleepy Hollow with Johnny Depp.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Okay,
It's
well,
like the blood tree.
it's actually based off a real tree. There was, Major Andre's tree, which was the haunted tree. So Washington Irving used that as the spot where he sees.
So who's Washington Irving? Why are we talking about him?
Washington Irving wrote.
I mean, I know.
The
This is for the listeners.
Oh, yeah. That's for the
Yeah.
people who don't
Right,
know,
yeah. I mean,
Ryan,
I obviously
you knew
know.
that. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure you guys are very well versed in the history.
Right.
Washington Irving was living in Birmingham, England, and he wrote about the legend of Sleepy Hollow while in England. But people wonder, well, why did he write about what was Tarrytown at the time? And the reason he used Tarrytown was Washington Irving grew up in New York City. So when the yellow fever epidemic hit, a lot of families fled the big cities and went to the suburbs. And Sleepy Hollow, otherwise known as Tarrytown,
Used to be called, what,
it
Upper
used to be called
Tarrytown?
it used to be called Upper Tarrytown,
Right.
and then I'll tell you why they changed the name a little later. But they changed the name to Sleepy Hollow. But he used that site because that's where he went to as a kid, so he knew the Van Tassel families.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And, these are all people ingrained in the local lore, and when he comes up with a scary story, he's not just making this stuff up. He's taking already stories that were well known in the region and crafting a story, putting them all together.
This is what Washington Irving did.
Yeah, that's what Washington Irving did. So the story comes out in 1820, and later on he moves to Sunnyside. Now, Sunnyside is the name he gives this house that he buys that we went to. It was actually owned by a guy named Wolfert Acker.
Now, which one was that?
There's Sunnyside.
Sunnyside, that was the first place we stopped.
Okay.
It looks old-fashioned-y.
And it was known as Wolfert's Roost. And supposedly there was a structure on that site all the way back to about 1650. Now, the house that you see today and that you have the picture of, they're the modern, what the house looks like today.
They rebuilt it to match.
Well, they've kept it up to date, but Washington Irving did a lot of things to the site, so he made it much larger. Now, Washington Irving. In 1842, he becomes like the ambassador to the court of Isabella II of Spain, and his brother Ebenezer moved into the house with his 4 daughters.
Ebenezer?
He had a brother Ebenezer.
Great
I know,
name for
Wish I
spooky
had
stuff, right?
I know, but that Ebenezer's, maybe our Christmas episode. I don't know.
Yeah,
it could be.
crossover.
Wait, I don't want to talk too much about it. And Ebenezer lives there with his 4 daughters.
Okay.
And then, ultimately Washington Irving comes back. The 4 nieces help take care of him in the home. And he dies in 1846. Dies in 1859 at the age of 76.
Okay.
So one of the things I really liked thinking about Washington Irving is that the day he dies, we know what his last words were.
Okay.
He said, "Well, I must arrange my pillows for another night. When will this end?" And so
he's just basically like, let me die now.
he was
I don't
ready.
even want to go to sleep tonight. I want to die.
But the interesting thing is, in his lifetime, he wrote in 1843, "I really believe that when I die, I shall haunt it," meaning Sunnyside. And he says, but it will be as a good spirit that no one needs to be afraid of.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Now, while he was alive, he saw spirits at the house himself.
Okay.
Wolfert Ackert supposedly haunted the site. He saw him on the property. And he also talked about...
And who is Wolfert Ackert?
He was the first owner of the property that was Sunnyside.
Okay.
So he haunts both the house and the grounds. Now, Washington Irving also says that a woman also haunted one of the rooms in the house, and she died of love and green apples. So...
That sounds like a band name.
She died of love,
Love and green apples.
Yeah, I don't know if she ate too many apples. Apples do
Arsenic.
have arsenic in them.
Part to blame was love. Also part to blame.
Green apples.
Green apple splatters.
Never trust a green apple. That's what I always say.
So her ghost is seen in the house as well as into the apple orchard.
Okay. Ooh, I think I got a picture of that too.
The apple orchard?
If you're on our YouTube, you can see these pictures. Of like a white thing in the woods.
No, that's a lady in white.
Oh,
that's for later.
That's a whole
Ryan.
different thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You're jumping the gun.
Although we could say that's for Matilda Hoffman. Washington Irving was actually engaged to be married to a girl, and her name was Matilda Hoffman.
Okay.
Matilda Hoffman catches what back then is called consumption. Today we would call it tuberculosis. So she dies at the age of 19, I think it is, on April 26, 1809, and she haunts the grove of trees on the grounds. Now, Washington Irving's ghost has been seen looking out a window of the home, and in 2010, a 14-year-old girl was just taking pictures of the outside of the house, and I tried so hard to find this picture, but the family has pulled it all off.
Oh.
But she snapped a picture on June 26th of 2010, and she caught what she believed was Washington Irving's ghost sitting at his desk holding a quill pen. So who knows what
That's kind of
pretty cool.
Yeah.
So like this is a young girl who was just really into the
At least
Sleepy
he wasn't
Hollow.
holding like a Bic pen or something.
No,
it's
and
like a quill.
She's a young girl. Like she's not a ghost hunter that's going to try to like ramp something up out of nothing. You know, she was just trying to get a nice picture.
Right.
I don't, and just so our listeners and watchers know, what we did go to this place. We were there with Steve. However, Steve holds back a lot of the information.
Yes.
He only gives us a slice of the information at that time, and then he gives us the rest of the story here in the studio. So
that our reactions are completely normal, and we're not just asking questions for your benefit. They're for our benefit as well.
We're not sitting here acting coy. We're actually,
Thank you, Ryan, for clarifying. That's always good to do.
Now, in regards to the house, there's one last set of ghosts. Washington Irving's nieces supposedly still haunt the site.
Oh wait, I think I pulled up the wrong picture
and tidy up the house while the museum staff is away.
Wait, doesn't Joseph Priestley's nieces also tidy up his house?
No, they don't clean his house.
Oh. Okay,
I would have loved that as a guy.
That must have been something else that you mentioned then that I'm getting confused of.
I need a ghost that cleans my house.
I'm remembering nieces cleaning up the house at night.
Yeah, that's this site, but there's probably many others that clean up the sites.
Good little nieces.
Now, before we leave Sunnyside, there is one last ghost story there. for those of you that have not been to Sunnyside, it faces the Hudson River, and in between the house and the river is the railroad tracks that in April 1865, Abraham's funeral train passed Sunnyside. It passes Sunnyside, and supposedly it...
whose funeral train?
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln.
So it was traveling from New York City
Yeah.
to Buffalo, New York, because he was stopped
Wow.
on many parts of that journey. And every April, supposedly the ghost train goes by Washington Irving's house and blows the steam engine.
That's
in April
pretty
every year.
cool.
That's pretty cool.
So the site wasn't great because we got there a little late. We didn't get to tour the house.
Right.
And
like
see
we're
much.
we're like, oh, it's early October. It shouldn't be any problem. We're so stupid. It's October. It's spooky season.
was packed.
Like it
Everyone
was so
was there.
packed.
It was insane.
And we got up early to go there and got there early, and it was still sold out.
It was
Everything.
crazy.
Well, and I blame the pizza. We spent a little time at New Haven, Connecticut, and that kind of delayed us getting there.
Yeah.
So,
But still, it's all part of the.
So then we decide, well, okay, we're going to leave and we're going to go somewhere else. We got what we could at the site. Also got at the site the shot glasses that you have
Oh,
here
yeah.
on the table.
Absolutely.
They kicked us
Which-
out because I think that was that reenactment everybody's talking about. I think there was
Yeah.
a reenactment.
In fact, the reenactment goes along with this book right here. Jonathan Crook Crook, I don't know how to pronounce it properly. I'm really bad at that. But he has been portraying the Headless Horseman for years, and he does it at Sunnyside.
Oh.
So he wrote this book, and for anyone that's interested in wondering how I research this stuff, I read a ton of books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
So, like, this is the authoritative, really history-heavy book. If you
And what's it called? Legends and Lore?
Legends and Lore of Sleepy Hollow and the Hudson Valley by Jonathan Crook.
Jonathan.
Now, if you want something really light, The Ghostly Tales of Sleepy Hollow by Jessa Dean, who is a children's book, but it's using
Cool.
this as the main info.
Oh, nice.
The other book that I used was Ghost of Sleepy Hollow, Haunts of the Headless Horseman by Sam Baltrusis. Now, I just ran into him at the Warren's Paracon, and he, was kind enough to sign it
Oh, that's cool.
for me.
That's so cool.
And there's a lovely map in the front of this that if you want to redo our journey and travel the sites, they have the map of Ichabod Crane and his journey through Sleepy Hollow.
So that's how you knew.
So that's how I knew how
That's
to
where
do it.
We're in
he
Sleepy
held
Hollow.
out the good shit from us. So, like, I would have liked to see that map while we were there, dude.
That was pretty cool.
I know.
I'm gonna hold that against
but
you.
you know what? We'll,
No, I'm not.
we'll have to go back, and the second time
I
we visit
totally
a
want
site,
to go back.
maybe after you know the information,
Yeah.
maybe there will be things that you want to see because we didn't see Spook Rock
Right.
and so there's still stuff to see.
Yeah. There's a
Well,
lot
I don't
of
think our
stuff to
audience
see.
understands how ridiculous Steven is. We get there and he's like, "Oh, you have to go east, or you have to go up this hill, or you have
Yeah,
to
it
go over
should
here."
be right around this
He's
corner.
never been there
Like,
either.
oh, you've been here before? No.
No.
It's on my bucket
He just
list.
knows because he's read all this information and studied this stuff.
And I also look at Google Maps. I actually put it to the
Don't
You're
pretend
an
like it's normal.
incredible resource, Steven. We're lucky to have you.
and I walk alleys just to see where things are.
Yeah.
And zoom in on people's porches. So
So-
That's not creepy.
He makes our trips fun because he takes all that work out of it for us. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, so like when we're driving from Sunnyside and we're going into the town, we actually pass two sites that I opted not to stop you at. One is called the Landmark Condo, and that's on 18 North Broadway. The Landmark Condo is actually on the grounds where the
Landmark Condo.
Van Tassel Tavern was.
Oh.
So
Van
Owned
Tassel
by
Tavern.
Balthus.
so where Brom Bones
Yeah.
tells the ghost stories, that's where this condo is. And then,
Oh, okay. I think I saw
So
that
when you
in
say
the
Brom
Disney
Bones-
version I watched last night.
You're
Brom
referring to the
Bones telling
characters
ghost
from.
stories to freak out
Yeah.
Ichabod Crane.
So, like, when we're driving, I was trying to read a Korean church sign.
Yeah.
And I was trying to read it in Korean, even though I know no Korean. And Christy jumped in by telling me that what it was because she read the English
Yeah, it was like
version.
Presbyterian Korean church or something.
And
like
I only bring it up because when we were looking to the right,
Okay.
to the left of us is Patriots Park.
Okay.
Patriots Park is named after a guy named Major John Andres. And for anyone that studies the American Revolution, he's an interesting character because we all know Benedict Arnold. Benedict Arnold, was going to
lousy
give West
scalawag.
Point to the British, and he was going to give them George Washington and turn traitor. Major John Andres traveled with a guy named Henry Clinton to a meeting with Benedict Arnold.
Clinton?
And
Any
yes.
relation?
No relation.
Are we sure?
I'm positive, there's
Skull
no
and
relation.
Bones new episode.
Actually,
sometime?
the Skull and Bones
Maybe.
doesn't involve Clintons. It involves the Bushes.
Oh.
So that's all.
I've seen something that said Clintons were involved also, but
No,
you're the
they're
historian. so
they're not.
I
They're not
default to
involved
you.
in the Skull and Bones. But the Skull and Bones was actually predominantly Republican, and then it switches. Nowadays, it's more Democrat.
Yeah.
But that's another episode.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do. That will be a whole
Teaser.
other episode.
That'll be a whole thing. Now, Patriots Park was at the time. It was called Wiley Swamp, and there were trees all over the place.
Okay.
And there was one tree that Major Andres, he got the paperwork for Benedict Arnold's treason, and he puts it in his shoe, and he's going to get back on the boat, the Vulture, and go down the Hudson back to British territory.
Okay.
Well, the Patriots start firing on the boat skedaddles. There's Major John Andres with these papers, and he's got in enemy territory. He's got to get back. So Benedict Arnold writes him a letter and to try to get him safe passage, but Major Andres made a few major mistakes. For one, he dressed in civilian clothing in wartime, and then he
To try to hide, I'm guessing.
he hid the papers in his shoe.
Okay.
And he's then traveling on horse.
But that sounds smart to me. That's a mistake.
That's
Oh,
how
it's
he got in
not.
trouble. That's what he got in trouble for.
It's what gets him in trouble. He's going through Sleepy Hollow, which is Tarrytown at the time, and he gets to Wiley's swamp.
Okay.
And underneath a giant, gnarly tulip tree, he sees three men, and he's like, "Oh, I'm close to British forces." So he lets them know, "Hey, I'm a British," and they weren't British. They were patriots. So
I'm a British might be my favorite quote I've ever heard.
I'm a British.
So he then tries to say, "Oh,
Don't hurt me. I'm a British.
I'm really
You're like,
a patriot,
"I'm a Brit."
and to prove it, I have papers from Benedict Arnold."
Okay. Now he's
who's
trying
your
to.
guy.
Yeah.
And by this point, they didn't trust him, so they take him across the Hudson to meet with George Washington. And I'll talk about the site a little bit later. But
Okay.
that tree is very famous because supposedly Major John Andres haunts the tree site in Patriots Park. People hear the footsteps of the horse near that tree. So when Ichabod Crane
Ghost horse.
is
Ghost horse.
yeah, but it's Major Andres' ghost horse.
Okay.
So
But why the tree? Again.
because that's where he was caught. He was caught under the
okay.
branches of the tree.
Okay.
So that's the capture site. Now,
Traumatic
when
yeah.
Washington
Makes
Irving
sense.
is writing the story, he uses the scary tree as the focus of Ichabod Crane getting fully scared after being at the tavern and hearing these ghost stories. It's at Andre's tree that he actually sees the Headless Horseman for the first time.
So you telling me this person saw 3 ghosts?
Which person? Ichabod Crane?
No. Do you say he arrived there and saw 3 people under the tulip tree?
No, that's Major John Andres. That's why the tree
So
is
many
haunted.
names, Steve.
I know. I'm a little
So
lost,
Major
sorry.
Andre, this is happening around 1780.
Okay.
So
So this is like 100, well, not quite 100, but
it's
a
like
good deal
40 years before
Sleepy
Ichabod
Hollow.
Crane and all that.
Okay.
So that's the site that is famous for this.
It's already haunted. is what
yeah,
you're saying.
It's already haunted.
before
In
the
fact,
story comes out.
when Ichabod Crane is walking by this tree, he says suddenly he heard a groan. His teeth chattered and his knees smote against the saddle. The Andres tree that spread its ghost-like arms in the moonlight. And it's in the dark shadow of the grove on the margin of the brook beheld something huge, misshapen, and towering. It stirred not, but seemed gathered up in gloom, like some gigantic monster ready to spring upon the traveler. He appeared to be a horseman of large dimensions, and mounted on a large black horse of powerful frame.
So that kind of sounds like it's coming out of the tree.
Yeah, so
Which is a little bit like the Johnny Depp, Christina Ricci version.
exactly.
The big tree.
Yeah, the blood tree.
So then we get to the lackluster Headless Horseman bridge, okay? When we see it, does it look like anything you would have imagined?
No.
I mean, it's concrete.
It's kind of quaint, though, I will say. It's got that New England kind of vibe to it, even though, when you said it's like 5 lanes of traffic, I imagined it bigger. Because it's still in a town,
well,
in
and
a
there's
small
like all
town.
these offshoots of roads.
It's like
coming through.
intersections. Yeah.
I
Right.
mean, it is not a pedestrian-friendly
it's-
town.
No, it's not. But
It's like you're going to get
uphill.
hit.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people
Dangerous.
die there.
But yeah, no, the bridge itself to this day is like the actual bridge. It's concrete. You can drive right over it.
Correct.
There's memorial plaques on either side. So when we were there, again, I was imagining we would just have like free reign. We'd be able to go and take pictures. No, there's tons of people there.
Swamped.
But it's still kind of cool. It added to the energy.
The old Albany Road, which is the main road, so we know that's where the original Headless Horseman's Bridge would have been. So it's at the geographic site.
Yeah.
And it's just below the old Dutch church. So when we get to that bridge, that's where Ichabod Crane is racing the Headless Horseman. And he's like going across that bridge, and he looks behind him, and then in a flash of light, the horseman throws his head or flaming pumpkin at him.
Now, you
Depending
know
on
what
the
I
Disney
learned
version.
from the Jeff Goldblum movie that I just watched over the weekend?
Yeah.
Which I never knew existed.
I mean, we're assuming people know the Sleepy Hollow story, I guess, right?
But apparently,
assume.
so there's this 1980 version of Sleepy Hollow starring Jeff Goldblum as Ichabod Crane. And at first I'm like, could that be, is that Jeff Goldblum? And then he spoke. And I was like, oh yeah, that's Jeff Goldblum. So then the person playing Brom Bones, Dick Butkus.
Podcast?
Dick Butkus.
That's weird.
Yeah. But it seemed to be pretty, what you're talking about tonight is kind of matching up with a lot of it. Now, it was boring. It was 1980, so it had a very grainy, almost creepy quality to it. Jeff Goldblum is so Jeff Goldblum, even in 1980. It's like he's quite. Sometimes he laughs through his lines, almost like he knows how ridiculous he is saying his own lines.
Oh, man.
It's pretty
I'll
good.
have to watch it.
Yeah,
excited.
I sent you the link,
Yeah.
by the way. But my whole thing is what I learned from that was that he had heard that the Headless Horseman can't get you if you cross the bridge. Like his powers are over.
On the other side of the bridge.
Yeah, if you get to
think
the
I remember that
bridge,
from
you're
the other
safe.
version.
There
too.
is theories that like spirits can't cross water. So that's what would have saved him.
And it was the ghost of, it was the old school teacher. Let me just find my glasses here. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Winthrop.
Okay.
Yeah, it was supposed to be his ghost that told him about, like, you can't get past, like, if you get to the bridge, you're safe.
Okay. Well, the Headless Horseman does have ties to the area. In White Plains, New York, there was a Hessian that was at the battle, and it was reported that he lost his head by a cannon shot.
The Headless Hessian. I remember you talking about
he's
this.
the Headless Horseman. And then where the Van Tassels come into the Hessian is supposedly the British would burn down homes. And they typically would give you 15 minutes to clear your home out. And then they'd burn down your home. They didn't want to kill you. They just wanted to take away all your stuff. And supposedly one of the Van Tassel's ancestors couldn't find their kids. One kid was trapped upstairs and actually had to jump out a second-story window, and the other child was either saved by a Hessian or allowed the family, or ran in and carried the child out and saved it.
Okay.
So when the Hessian at White Plains dies, supposedly the Van Tassels, in honor of that one Hessian's act of kindness in saving their one child, they bury the Headless Horseman in the old Dutch church cemetery.
Oh, I got a picture of that too.
Now, can I ask you a question for our listeners and myself? Where is a Hessian from?
It's from the Hesse region of Germany.
Okay.
In fact, I have 3 Hessians in my ancestry.
How is that spelled? I really like the word. It sounds neat. I like to say it, but I don't know how to spell it.
Hessian.
Hey, that's how I
Hessian.
spelled it in my notes.
Nice.
So I do like to point out that at this bridge, when Ichabod Crane is approaching the bridge, to just throw it into context, he said, "If I can reach that bridge," thought Ichabod, "I am safe." Just then he heard the black steed panting and closed in behind him. And while on the bridge, Ichabod and Gunpowder was the name of the horse.
No, yeah, that was the same in the movie.
When Ichabod looks behind him, a flash of fire and brimstone. The horseman throws his head at Ichabod. Now, Gunpowder is found the next day at his owner's house, just eating, grazing in the fields, but no Ichabod. The only thing that's ever found of Ichabod is his hat, and a shattered pumpkin is found by the bridge. So, in his effects at the house, they found 2 shirts, 2 stockings, some clothes, a rusty razor, a book of psalm tunes, a pitch pipe, a copy of the New England Almanac, and a copy of Cotton Mather's History of Witchcraft. So at this point in the story, when you read Sleepy Hollow, you are then posed with a question. Is the Headless Horseman real? Did he kill Ichabod Crane?
Right.
Or was Brom Bones dressed up as the Headless Horseman, threw a pumpkin at Ichabod, scared the bejesus out of him, and Ichabod just left Sleepy Hollow, never to be seen?
Oh my gosh. So there's so much to what you're saying right now, just in these, over the weekend, watching these things and being where we were. So I can't believe that this 1980 movie.
I love that you're referring to this
Goldblum movie.
40-year-old movie.
Yeah, but it seems to be legit. But okay, so first off, in the end, he gets the girl and he's like, oh, it might have been Brom Bones or it might have been the Headless Horseman. I don't know. So he's left alive in the end of that version.
Okay, that's totally deviant from the book.
Yeah. But he also, it plays it very similar to, the 48, 50 version of, the Disney version.
Yeah, I think it's 1949.
Yeah, the bumbling, klutzy guy. Boom, 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 driving through not driving, of course, riding.
Yeah.
His horse through the woods, but.
Grabbing his horse.
Yeah, but it's just interesting, how the story gets changed and morphed through time, and who decides what is the right ending to it.
Well, I mean, ultimately, since Washington Irving wrote the story, his version is the proper version.
Right.
But
and in his version, Ichabod's never found?
Brom Bones, Ichabod's never found.
Yeah.
And some people, half the people think that he left and was living in upstate New York, and the other half of the people think the Headless Horseman got him. So it leaves it open-ended, where if you want to believe one way or the other, you can, but I can tell you that Ichabod did not get the girl. It was Brom Bones that got the girl, not Mr. Ichabod. But you shouldn't feel bad about that. Ichabod wants Katrina because her family owns all this land.
Oh.
And he wants her for her wealth. For all of Brom Bones' bravado and machismo, at least he actually loved Katrina and wasn't using her to get her property. He was using her to get her. So that's a little bit more noble.
Absolutely.
So after that, we can literally see the Old Dutch Church, which is where...
Like it says, like right up the half a hill from us.
Yeah, you can
right
see
there.
it from there.
And also they have like stands set up now with souvenir
like
shops
t-shirts
and T-shirts.
In fact, if you look off to the left, we saw, what was it, Phillipsburg Manor.
Yeah.
And we just walked by it in passing because if you read the story of the legend of Sleepy Hollow, Phillipsburg Manor is where Ichabod Crane walks all the ladies to try to woo them.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You know, so
Yeah, he was a bachelor.
He was a bachelor. He
Oh,
was
and that's
trying to
another
the
thing.
lady.
They said that like if bachelors were more susceptible to ghost hauntings and stuff, like if you were
interesting.
married, you were safe. But if you were a bachelor,
You mean
you
in
were going to
Sleepy
be
Hollow or in general?
like the Headless Horseman or just ghosts in general would. Like that's another thing from the Jeff Goldblum movie. But I'm telling you, it was so boring. It seemed authentic. You
I
know?
would probably still love it.
You probably would. I'll send you the link.
Awesome. So we went to the Old Dutch Church. Unfortunately, it was 4:31 when we
got
get
there
there,
like a
roughly.
minute late, yeah.
Like a minute late. But the church, which you can see from the road, was built in 1685.
Yep.
And
Old.
The bell was cast in 1697, and it has an inscription that says, "If God is with us, who can be against us?" Which almost seems like a dare, you know, because obviously they have the Headless Horseman, you know, tethering his horse right there in that churchyard. Yeah. So there are people, if you go there, you can see some graves. Ichabod Crane is based off of two gentlemen. One guy is named Samuel Youngs, and he's a Tarrytown resident. He's buried in their churchyard.
Okay.
Jesse Merwin is another guy, but you have to go to Kinderhook, New York, to see the Ichabod Crane schoolhouse, because those are the two characters that he
Merged.
melded together.
Interesting. Well, I just learned today that Washington Irving might be responsible for romanticizing Christopher Columbus too. So I can see why he did this story. And
He looked up to founding fathers. I mean, as a child, he met George Washington, and one of the last things he ever writes about is, a 4-volume set on George Washington. So
that's cool.
He liked the founding fathers. Now, we did see Katrina Van Tassel's grave. She's actually based off of a girl named Eleanor Van Tassel Brush.
Yep, I remember you
So
showing
if
me
you're
that.
looking at the Old Dutch Church, you look off to the right-hand side, and her grave is facing the road. So we could see that and get a great picture. The Headless Horseman would have been buried probably along the north wall. That's where they buried the poor people.
Right.
So we didn't get to see his
Wasn't
grave.
Brom Bones up by Katrina too?
Brom Bones is near her, and that's based off of a guy named Abraham Martling, who was the local...
And that was the one we could see right there.
Yeah, you could see
walked
him,
up
but we
those
just
2,
couldn't
3
get
steps.
Yeah, we couldn't get a clear picture of his thing.
Yeah.
I got another Abraham in the shot that I took. But he was a town blacksmith, and it's based off of him and his son. It's kind of an amalgamation. And that's why the Headless Horseman has a black steed, because Abraham Martling had a black horse.
Oh, that's cool.
So that it adds more credence that maybe Ichabod was really brought down by Brom Bones.
Right.
So we get there, and then right next to it is Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. It looks like it's all part of the same cemetery, but the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery is actually where Washington Irving is actually buried. So in that cemetery, the things to see are obviously Washington Irving's grave, which is behind a gate, and you're not allowed to go into the direct family plot. There's also a bronze lady statue, which is supposedly cursed. So if you go there, if you slap her on the face, spit in her eye, and maybe kick her in the shin...
What?
Who's doing
What are
this
you
to a
talking
bronze
about?
statue?
I don't know why you'd want to do that.
Who thought of this?
I'm sure.
I tell you
local
what,
kids.
if you go in there and you spit on this bronze statue,
Oh my
if you
God.
smack her in the
Just
face,
dick slap her once or
maybe a little
twice.
kicking, punching.
Listen, I'm not going to do it.
This is the most ridiculous thing I've heard.
neither.
Anyway, what happens if you do that?
You get cursed for the rest
Oh,
of
you
your
get
life.
cursed.
Well, hell no. Why
Yeah.
would you want to do it? And
Listen, I'm just going to tell you the lore. It's up to you if you want to do it.
Right.
I'm
Fair enough.
very respectful of all the sites I go to. So I'm not in the habit of kicking or berating statues.
Yeah.
No matter what it says, you know. In,
Agreed.
the public era.
And we didn't get to see that, though.
We didn't get to see that, and we didn't get to see the recreation of the Headless Horseman's Bridge.
Right.
They have
I was so excited for that, too.
near
We
the
got to go
Bronze
in,
Lake.
like, August next year.
Yeah, we
something.
definitely got to go again. Now, the last grave that I like to mention is Huldah.
Yes.
Huldah is
I've been waiting for you to bring this up, Steve.
the Witch of Sleepy Hollow.
Yes.
So Washington Irving makes a passing comment about a high German priestess, and that is Huldah. She supposedly
The Bohemian.
We traveled Route 9 or whatever it was north of the graveyard, and that's where her hut was, just on the outskirts. And supposedly she was first mentioned in 1897 in the book Chronicles of Tarrytown and Sleepy Hollow by Edgar Mayhew Bacon. And by the way, I love the name Mayhew.
Yeah. Maybe bacon.
It also sounds like a sneeze.
It does. Mayhew. In 1955, she's mentioned again in Myths and Legends for Tarrytown, Daily News. And I said she supposedly knew many languages. People didn't really talk to her. They kind of ignored this woman because she was an outsider.
She lived in a shack in the woods by herself.
She was bohemian.
Yep.
So there's a lot of reasons why you would ignore her. But she supposedly traded furs and baskets, and when someone was
Herbs.
sick, she would show up with a bundle of herbs, and you would take those herbs to make yourself better.
Yep, she was like a medicine woman
So
almost.
you might not publicly say you supported the witch, but you would take her remedies because they worked.
Right.
So
And the preacher wouldn't let her in the church.
So we wonder why she gets a headstone. Well, supposedly there was the British came to Sleepy Hollow, and she grabs a musket and she fights with the soldiers.
Oh.
And she is then the next day found dead, shot in the head by a mini ball. So, which would probably be back then like a Brown Bess bullet. And they actually decide to bury her in the cemetery in the North End near
Because
where
she
the
fought
Headless
for 'em?
Horseman. So in 2019, they erect a headstone for her.
Oh, that's cool.
Now here's the downside. We don't actually know if she actually existed. There's no
What?
documentation that this woman was ever alive.
So it could just been like a rally story.
It could have been just like a local wives' tale, and like now she's got a grave. But I'd like to think that Huldah existed and that the lore was based on some poor girl.
So the other bit of research I did last night on YouTube brought up Huldah, the other Sleepy Hollow story.
Yeah.
Said everything the same that you did, except for that when she died, she had a journal, and she left whatever she had, like 1.5 gold pieces or something, like very small amount of money. She left it in her journal pages and said she wanted to be left to the widows and children.
That is true.
Who lost their husbands in the war, and it was like the Revolutionary War.
So she was the townspeople with that disclosure realized that she was really a good person.
And they cited that same Mayhew
If she
Bacon
existed.
person.
If
too.
she existed, she was a good person. So
And
that's
they
why
said the preacher would not allow her into the church, though, the old Dutch church.
correct.
Yeah.
So
Which is
Came
messed
around.
up.
so that's Huldah. So
He
that
came around when?
that brings us through the whole.
They're giving her a headstone. It just took 100 years.
Just took
or so.
100 years or so. Oh,
I know. We have to go back up because I do want to get a picture of her headstone. You know,
It's kind of reddish from what I saw.
it's made of sandstone and it's got the skull with the death wings.
Yeah, it was cool.
It looks really awesome, and it'd be a great photo shoot for anybody.
Yeah.
So that kind of brings us through the town of Sleepy Hollow to the sites that we hit.
Where are we at going on it?
I'm actually at the last page.
Perfect. We're good.
So before we leave the area, we drove across the Hudson River, and I took you guys to Pan, New York.
Wait. You didn't tell us why when it changed to Sleepy Hollow and all that?
Huh? It changed to Sleepy Hollow in 96. There was an automobile
real
plant.
recent.
And super recent. So an automobile plant was closing down, and a lot of the people in North Tarrytown were going to be without jobs. So it was a big PR thing to be like, well, everyone already considers us Sleepy Hollow because of the Washington Irving story.
Yeah.
Why don't we change your name to Sleepy Hollow, and focus in on the tourism.
Try to get
So they started focusing on the tourism, and then this became the second Halloween town to hit. Second behind like Salem.
It felt like Salem. It really did feel like, to me.
I agree.
It was like the New England town, small. Everyone just embraced the Halloween spirit. Decorations everywhere, and we're talking, October 4th is when we were there.
October, 3rd or 4th or something.
Yeah, so it was early October,
Yeah,
but it just felt so Halloween-y. And also, when they were Tarrytown, was the school district also the Headless Men?
The Headless Horseman is their mascot. I don't know when that started.
Yeah.
But we drove by the Washington Irving High School.
Oh yeah.
It's named after Washington Irving, but their mascot is the Headless Horseman.
I wonder if it was like that when it was Tarrytown.
I don't know.
Tarrytown, Headless
I
Horseman.
know Salem, that their
Or if it
mascot
just
is witches.
96,
Right.
It switched to Headless Horseman.
Also, do you guys remember that we thought that they missed a major opportunity because, like, crosswalk signs, it would be people with their heads on.
Yeah, they should have it. No heads.
No
on those
heads
signs.
on crosswalk
Not only that,
signs.
but like
Sleepy
deer.
Hollow. I'm just telling you right now.
Yeah.
You're missing.
Take
You
the
could do
heads
some
off
cool
all
stuff.
your figures.
Got this one with the guys walking a dog. Head off.
Head off. And the dog, too. That would be even
Same
funnier.
with deer
Yeah,
crossing
less-
signs. None of the deer should have heads.
I agree.
Right.
Like, make everything headless. Really
That would be
double down.
hilarious.
Yep.
Sleepy Hollow definitely is missing
It's an opportunity there. Yeah.
an opportunity. So when we leave Sleepy Hollow, it's
We did a pizza in Sleepy Hollow before we
okay.
left.
We want to do the pizza before we do the
yeah.
last thing.
Yeah, let's do that if you don't
Okay,
care.
yeah.
Yeah,
no
it's a
problem.
special episode.
We
you know,
went-
Rules need not apply tonight.
That's right. We went to a different pizza place, right?
did.
Yeah,
We
because
initially
after
went.
that
We won't
long
mention
day
it.
of walking and looking at stuff, we kind of wanted to have a little adult beverage to
Yeah.
go with our pizza.
Correct.
There was one place in Sleepy Hollow that had
On that day, that was open with pizza and alcohol.
beverage. And
It was like an hour wait or
yeah,
something.
like we got there, we're
We
like,
did not plan for that.
nope. Luckily, we had passed another pizza shop on the way
Yep.
to said other establishment, and we doubled back and went there, and it ended up being awesome. I thought.
Castelletto's Pizza.
Yeah.
Castelletto's Pizzeria in downtown Sleepy Hollow, New York. It was awesome.
Those girls were so nice.
Let's see. Honestly, this wasn't our first choice for pizza destination because it didn't show up on our app, but we were glad that we stopped. So it doesn't show up in the app. That's right. We got a slice and ate it outside while all the other tourists walked by. Young ladies Amber Lopez and Jalen Lagares took great care of us while we were there. They were really sweet.
They were very sweet.
It was definitely busy, and they were very nice to us.
Yep.
The pizza was cool. It was good. Steve, do you remember what the pizza looked like? Was it a square one?
No, that
No.
was a round.
It was round?
It was a round one. They did sell round and square pizzas.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So
But
like
we
in
were
the
kind
display
of-
case, we saw square pizzas.
Right.
But when I ordered a pizza, we actually got a slice of the round.
Which was fine, though, because it's kind of normally what
we liked.
we end up getting.
Yeah. Steve said 4.0. Crust was nice and airy and flaky. Had a little crisp to it. Good cheese, good sauce to cheese ratio, and I definitely would haunt this place. So yeah, big rating for you. I mean, 4. That's pretty.
Well, they also had a Headless Horseman on their menu, so that ultimately gives them a little bit more
helps out.
points.
I agree.
And they had the witch inside, too.
There was a witch, yeah.
Yeah, those great pictures
Right
that you
next
have,
to
too.
the pizzas.
Christy gave it 3.75. Big score for you.
That's pretty high for me, yeah.
First bite was good. That's a good sign. Good cheese, more sauce than grease. The
Yeah.
crust was both crunchy and foldable somehow at the same time. And you said good sauce again, good flavor too.
Well, I must have liked the sauce if I said it twice.
More sauce than grease. No, you only said it once. My bad.
Oh, okay.
I gave it a 4.0 because I really liked this one too. I think it was we were all surprised.
We were all surprised.
I think we were just thinking, we'll just go to
Yeah.
whatever.
We
And it
need to
was
get
really
a pizza
good.
shop. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is after having pizza a lot already
Right.
in the day. So for it to be actually enjoyable, that's a good thing.
Yeah, that was our third pizza
Third
shop for the
pizza
day.
shop of the
yeah.
day.
I go to 4.0. Crust was great because it was reheated. Oh, that's right. I love it when crust is slice is reheated.
Yeah,
You know
no,
it's always going to be
we
crispy.
do normally try to get, to be fair,
To be
a
fair.
whole pie, half pepperoni, half cheese, and then we taste off of that because we've realized, typically realized when you reheat a slice, it gets a little bit better. It gets a little crunchier.
You get a little more crisp.
Yeah. So we learned that actually on our first outing. I think we learned that. So normally that's what we do. But as we just said, this was our third pizza shop. And we knew we were still going to at least one more restaurant. Mm-hmm. So we're like, let's just split a slice. So we split a slice. And which may account for our higher scores.
I agree. It's a little bit unfair when you reheat
But
them.
at the same hand, we've had pizza all day. So I was already sick of pizza.
Right.
So...
sauce was sweet, but not overly sweet. Great overall slice. I think we all really liked it. So great job, Castello's Pizza in downtown Sleepy Hollow, New York. Thank you very much for hanging out with us.
One thing I didn't tell you guys is Beekman Street, which is Beekman Avenue or whatever, where both those pizza places were.
Yeah.
There in 1899, a woman in black was haunting that street. In fact, one woman was attacked by the woman in black, and she threw acid or vitriol in the girl's face. She was not harmed. But supposedly the local cops tracked down the woman in black, and here it turned out to be someone had just set up an effigy of a woman in black to scare people. Oh. So I don't think the woman that actually was the woman in black that threw acid on a girl was the same one that was the effigy.
Right.
But that's the street it happened.
That's cool.
So
there you go. You're good.
So we're gonna say we would haunt that.
I would totally go back to that place.
Yeah, me too.
And I want to reach out to our viewers and tell you that we did put a sticker outside of that shop.
Yep. Oh yeah. Most of the pizza places we go to anymore.
Yeah, most of the pizza places we do try to put a sticker so that. Feel free to try to find the sticker in Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, take a picture. Let us know you saw us.
Try the pizza.
Yeah,
tell them that we sent
you think.
Because we definitely want them to know that it was us that led you to them and not just Sleepy Hollow. So we ultimately leave Sleepy Hollow then. We kind of hit our fill of fighting for parking spaces. And we go to a place called the Old 76 House.
I was really excited to go.
I loved going here.
So the reason I chose to take you guys to the Old 76 House is because it's America's oldest restaurant, built in 1686. And it was expanded in 1755. Both those dates predate our country.
1668. Yeah. Think about how old that is for the United States.
Yeah.
That's old.
Our Constitution's not
I
that
looked it up. The oldest building in the United States is only 40 years old, or not even, 1641. So
was that in Florida?
Massachusetts. It's called the Fairbanks House. But it's only another 20?
40.
No, it's 27 years. So not far.
And this place in 1774, July 4th, they signed the resolutions of Orangetown at the site, which was kind of like a precursor to our own Declaration of Independence.
Oh, wow.
And it was done at this building. So
That's awesome.
This building was very important.
So much history.
So when we walked in, we walked to the bar originally.
Yep. It felt like just a
we
bar.
were like beeline bar.
Now, I didn't tell you.
Remember, the pizza place didn't have
The bar rail of the original house was the horse tie that was repurposed even before George Washington rubbed his elbow on that. So
Steve, how'd you learn that?
George Washington?
That was on the menu.
I know.
It was on their menu.
It was on their menu.
I know it was, Steven.
That's awesome.
Right? And the menu, which is
Did you bring one with you?
here.
We were kind of like partners in crime.
Sorry, 76
a little
House.
bit.
I just needed it for the show. If you want it
and
back,
I just
I'll
happened
send
to get it for him.
And I want to thank Joanna, which rhymes
Johanna?
with Joanna, Johanna, which rhymes with banana.
And we're like, no, it doesn't.
And there was another one too. What was her name? Oh, Linda, maybe.
It might have been.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
everyone was so nice. That place, super awesome.
Oh my God,
accommodating,
they were so
out the wazoo.
accommodating.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't even understand why. We were not. Yeah, they were very nice to us. Appreciated it.
So I guess the question is, why did I take you there?
Why'd you take us there, Steve?
So Major John Andre, the guy with the haunted tree.
Yeah.
Okay.
When he is captured, George Washington is actually using the old 76 house as his headquarters.
Okay.
Alexander Hamilton, the guy shot by Aaron Burr, is actually living upstairs.
No way.
In that building. So he lived there for 2 years.
That's pretty cool.
So when this Major Andre is brought here, he's originally just told, hey, Major Andre was just captured with papers from Benedict Arnold. Benedict Arnold was one of the heroes of the Battle of Saratoga. So, George Washington didn't want to believe it. So when Major Andre gets there and he has the papers, and George Washington sees the papers and sees them in the handwriting of Benedict Arnold, he walks to the mantle. There's a watercolor of Benedict Arnold.
Okay.
Which, when you go see it, it's upside down. Supposedly, in his disgust, he grabbed the watercolor of Benedict Arnold and turned it upside down and hung it upside down.
What a gentleman.
To show his distrust. Now,
today's guys, can I just say, today's guys would be punching a fist through the wall.
God,
He's like, I'm so angry. I'm going to turn your portrait upside down, sir.
Now, unfortunately, because Major Andre is caught in civilian clothing and he's got secret paperwork, he is actually tried as a spy. So George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, and even General Lafayette are all there at the trial, which took place at the church next door. So he is charged, and the problem with this is that Major Andre is really liked. He's really personable. He was just in a bad situation.
Oh.
If he would have worn military clothing, he could have said, I'm traveling on under a flag of truce to talk to an American officer. He would have been free.
Right.
So George Washington was not super mad at this guy, other than the fact that Major Andre had Nathan Hale executed. Okay. Now, Nathan Hale, you might remember the name, but he's the guy that, when he's executed, he says something to the effect of, my only regret is I only have one life to give.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, that's Nathan Hale. So George Washington's hands are tied. He tries to trade off. He's like, listen, you guys give me Benedict Arnold, I will trade you Major Andre. Oh. He would have been much happier hanging Benedict Arnold than he would be satisfied with hanging, Major Andre. So he ultimately doesn't get Benedict Arnold. So they hang Major Andre on the top of the hill from this restaurant. And he's buried there on the top of the hill. And there's Major Andre's monument in Japan. Now, the house that's not the end of the coolness.
Okay.
Because when the freaking war ends, once again, we're in the Hudson Valley. This is near West Point, So when the British and George Washington are meeting to come to accord or the agreement to the cessation of the war.
Okay.
And that Britain is going to consider America an independent place. They resolve these talks by eating at the old 76 house.
That's awesome.
So the war ends.
Was it just called the 76 house back then?
Yeah, it's probably the new 76 house.
Brand new 76
If I remember correctly, I think it was called something like Maybe's House.
Oh.
Maybe?
Yeah.
That's strange.
I may be wrong. But today, a guy named Rob Norden is the current tavern keeper. Well, and they still sell the same beer that George Washington liked.
That's
no kidding.
Cool. George Washington loved the beer so much, he got the recipe from that tavern, and that's what he made at Mount Vernon.
Yeah, which one?
What
beer?
Is it on the menu?
It's on the menu. I don't know. I don't have the beer menu.
Oh.
What is this? So I took a picture, or Christy took a picture of this corner of a room?
The corner of the room is the haunted spot. So that's what we're getting to next, the paranormal activity. Joanna, which rhymes with banana. I gotta keep saying that.
She's very nice.
Was telling us about a lot of the haunted lore at the house, which I knew some of it. But she says glasses fall to the floor from table number 2.
Oh, yeah.
Dimes and silver would fall to the floor in the haunted area. That's the area you've filmed. A man dressed in white has been seen sitting at a table. And here's the stuff she told us personally, she told us that a ghost girl has been seen on the staircase. The staff in the kitchen have had their hair pulled.
Hair pulled, yeah.
And she assured us that she herself had not experienced that.
She said that people were getting their glasses knocked off
And
their
there was something
face.
in the bathroom, too.
Yeah, glasses knocked off and glasses knocked out of their hands, like they're serving something. And then the bathroom lights will go off.
Oh, that's right. She
on
did
their
say
own.
that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So not only is the old 76 house an amazing restaurant with really
Oh, the food
incredible
was so
staff,
good.
It was so good.
good food,
Pricey, but so worth it
and
because
the things I didn't know that we could have.
historical, and they were so nice. Again,
Did you know that if you would have asked, they would have left us take one of the rifles off the wall and lift it and see how heavy it was?
No,
Oh, man.
they
we
would
could
not.
have. So if we ever go back, we could ask to hold a rifle.
Oh,
and then
my God.
maybe try to hold each other up.
That's so
That'd be cool at the
kind.
restaurant.
I will be back at that place sometime.
Yeah, I'd love
guarantee it.
to. They had things
Yeah.
on the menu like venison medallions and
Oh, yeah.
duck. Like it was
Oh,
very
it's so good. What did I have?
We split a
Oh, I had
burger.
Thanksgiving egg roll or Thanksgiving spring roll.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
was
you did.
awesome.
And we split the old 76 Tavern burger.
Yeah.
That's
and
right.
it was
Which was
huge.
amazing.
I still couldn't finish my half. And it was delicious.
Yeah, everything was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you guys think for our Halloween episode? Do you think Sleepy Hollow was the place to go?
I think so.
I think
I think
so.
we should have started off by telling people the story. I think we should have put that out there first, but so it is what it is at this point.
The story of
Sleepy Hollow. Go do your research. Pause. Go do your research and then come back.
All right,
Watch the Jeff Goldblum version.
and just it's only 25 pages long, the original.
long, yeah.
So just go to archive.org, download the book. It's part of the public domain.
Right. And
Save yourself some money.
yeah. So there's a reason I'm dressed like a witch. It's not, it's kind of not
This
like...
is our Halloween episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
Well-
wear this shirt all the time. This is like my regular
It's
shirt.
like your Jerry Seinfeld, the puffy shirt.
Yeah. Ah, yeah, the poet shirt.
Mm-hmm.
This is my
They did not have pizza at Old 76.
No, we thought that'd be awesome.
Thankfully. No, by then I was like, because not only that, we had pizza the night before.
Oh, yeah.
We went, and then my family had pizza 2 days
it's a lot of
before
pizza.
that. So yeah, no
eat
more
a lot of
pizza for a little while.
You guys good?
I'm good.
I think we're good.
For our Halloween episode, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah.
And
Next time you crave a slice of the paranormal,
you know where
Seek
to
us
find
out.
us. Yeah. See ya.
peace.
This podcast was produced by Stone State Entertainment.